Obama's thugs planning to desecrate graves of soldiers on July 1. Here's what every American needs to know. Antifa is made up of self-described anarchists and radical left-wing thugs who employ violence and intimidation to advance their beliefs. They believe that their actions are the correct way to go about getting a point across, but they don't realize their actions are that of actual fascists. The media will portray them in a positive light and oftentimes praise them outright, but the truth is they are a threat to our country. This radical movement can be traced all the way back to before World War II, when the infamous Nazi Party used similar tactics to silence those who had a differing opinion. They employ so-called righteous violence against what they consider to be the forces of fascism. Antifa groups are on the rise in America in an effort to silence President Trump and his supporters by any and all means necessary. They often show up at conservative events and rallies wreaking havoc and even outright attacking anyone who disagrees with them. National Review's David French explained in the aftermath of Yiannopoulos' Berkeley event in February. What you'll notice, and what you'll experience, if you ever find yourself in the middle of violent left-wing protest, is that the rioters and the peaceful protesters have a symbiotic relationship. The rioters break people and destroy things, then melt back into a crowd that often quickly and purposefully closes behind them. They're typically cheered wildly, to be sure, some yell at them to stop, and often treated as heroes by the rest of the mob, almost like they're the SEAL Team 6 of left-wing protest. Many people don't realize, but Obama and the Democrats are responsible in many ways for Antifa's rise. Over the years, Obama's policies are directly responsible for our recent climate of division and hate. He spent 8 years brainwashing much of America's youth to think this way. He used identity politics to tear this country in two, and with the help of his good buddy George Soros, who was a Nazi himself during World War II, the two even are responsible for funding and organizing the new dangerous movement. Antifa is also attempting to erase history by going after Confederate monuments across the country. It has been largely successful, as numerous cities across the country have removed a large number of these monuments. Now, far-left Antifa activists are planning to protest at Gettysburg National Battlefield on the anniversary of the historic battle and burn Confederate flags on the historic day. Harrisburg 100 reported. Over the past few weeks, several U.S. cities have been a hotbed of controversy over the removal of several Confederate monuments. After decades standing sentinel over New Orleans, the last of 4 Confederate monuments have been removed after being labeled as monuments of racism and hate. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu said of the removal of his city's monuments, "To literally put the Confederacy on a pedestal in our more prominent places, in honor, is an inaccurate recitation of our full past, is an affront to our present, and it is a bad prescription for our future." The next state to follow in the footsteps in the movement is Arizona, where leaders call for the swift removal of 6 Confederate monuments around the state. A local group of self-proclaimed anti-fascism activists called Antifa are planning on holding a rally at Gettysburg National Battlefield on July 1 in protest of President Trump, and asks its members to bring and burn Confederate flags. The reasoning behind why this group picked the date and location for their rally is for the importance Gettysburg played in the American Civil War. The Battle of Gettysburg started on July 1, 1863, when Lee's Army of Northern Virginia met General George Meade's Union Army of the Potomac. During the 3-day battle, about 165,000 soldiers clashed in and around the small town of Gettysburg. When the Battle of Gettysburg was over on July 3, 1863, 51,000 soldiers were casualties, killed, wounded, captured or missing, in what remains the largest battle ever fought in North America. There are approximately 1,328 monuments, markers, and memorials that stand in both the cemetery and battlefield to commemorate the Union and Confederate troops who fought there. In removing any monument or marker of history, to what purpose does that serve? History in every corner of the world, while oftentimes ugly and heinous, still serves a purpose. It is a remembrance to learning from our past and not condemning ourselves to repeat it. Gettysburg. There is an old saying, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Antifa's actions will only create a more divided country, as many Americans' ancestors can be traced directly back to the Civil War. If you don't think those people will fight back against these thugs, you are dead wrong. They are crossing a very dangerous line and sides are being chosen. Make sure you are on the right side.